So it helps if I turn the microphones on. I gotta remember to do that every time. So I guess that gives us a little more time to get you guys all here. Hello, welcome to the Perfect Tips and Tricks with OESD. I am Carrie. Happy Friday. Thanks for bearing with us as always as we sort of figure things out as we go. I am very happy to be here with you guys and to be finishing up our Freestanding Basket along. We have spent a lot of time this week going through all of the steps on how to embroider a basket, how to do our applique pieces, how to make our accents. And today we're going to talk about how to assemble it. We have some great ribbon tips, using things that maybe you wouldn't have thought of as ribbon. Or as accents. So I hope you enjoy that. First, I'm going to show the assembly video. Hopefully that's clear. If you have questions, let me know as you think of them. And then we will talk about some stuff in a little bit. So let's start with our video. An important step that often gets overlooked when making freestanding lace is pressing. So it's really important to, after you rinse out your pieces, to give them a good press. You can see in this picture the difference between a pressed and unpressed piece. So I've covered my pressing surface with our perfect press cloth. You'll definitely want to have one of these. This makes all your puckers disappear. What it does is it lets your iron not crush your stitches. Because this is thick, it's like a wool pressing mat, except it's not wool, so if you have any allergies, you don't have to worry about that. It's very reasonably priced, and it's big enough to cover your whole board. It comes in two sizes, a slightly smaller and a larger. So when you rinse out your freestanding lace pieces, there will be some stabilizer left behind. You want that because it's going to add the structure to your pieces. The more you rinse out, the softer they'll get. In this case, we just rinse until we don't see any stabilizer. Pressing is very important because it really gives your freestanding structure a nice finish. What can happen though when you press these and you're going to use steam is that stabilizer that's left behind can stick to your mat. So what I do is take a piece of cotton and cover. So I have my ironing board, my perfect press cloth, and then a piece of cotton. And I press into that. And what that does is it keeps my freestanding pieces from sticking to my pressing mat. So give your applique pieces a nice press, use steam. You're going to notice a huge difference between the two, your pressed and your unpressed. So pressing your pieces, let them cool in place, and then we can assemble. So to assemble, you'll want to gather all of your pieces. So remember, you'll have your bottom piece, and then you'll have four sides, two of each kind. So two with the horizontal slits, and two with just the vertical slits. And then you will have three handle pieces, two that have a buttonette on the end, and one that doesn't. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get your sewing machine out. So I know these are in the hoop projects. You have to do a little bit of sewing. It's not too bad. I think you'll be all right. But you do want to match, just as you've done for embroidery, your top thread and your bobbin. So you're going to want to put a edge stitch foot on your sewing machine if you have one. If not, just use your regular sewing foot. You're going to want to be able to zigzag with it. So whichever foot you feel comfortable using. I wish I was that fast. I see Sharon commented in there that I am a very fast assembler, and wouldn't that be nice if we were that fast? It is not quite that fast in real life, but I think that maybe it wouldn't have been very exciting for you guys to watch me do it in live time. That video, I gotta give credit to our team put together that beautiful assembly video with the happy music, and I just love that. But hopefully that's clear for you guys. So let's talk about some options. You know what? I'm going to show you. I think it's a little clearer this way. So let's talk about some options if you don't have 5/8 ribbon, or maybe you have 5/8 ribbon that you don't love the color of, or you just want to mix it up. So the first thing that I thought of was cork, because I have a lot of cork around. I embroider on it. I love it. But I also have lots of weird pieces left over, lots of skinny strips that I can't use for anything else. So I cut cork at 5/8. You know, you definitely want to be in that 5/8 because there's not a lot of give in the cork. So with ribbon, it can sort of squish a little bit, but with the cork, not as much. But I used cork on this basket in the picture. I think it looks really great. It actually also gives a little more structure to the handle because the cork is a little bit stiffer. So the cork, I really like the look of a lot. The other option that I also kind of think is fun is fabric. So I had, was just trying to think, and here you guys can see my blue basket finished. I used fabric I basically made my own ribbon. So I cut 2 strips of quilting cotton at 3/4 inches because it's a little bigger because I ended up fraying the edges because I didn't want to turn a tube. That is not my speed. If you don't like the frayed edge look, you certainly could turn a long tube. Obviously, that's a little more tedious. So I put my strips together, right sides out. I didn't even use a fusible or anything. I just laid them together. I used my edge stitch foot and I just stitched along the edge about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. And then I just frayed the edges by pulling at the weave of the fabric. And I think it's a super cute look. You could even match then your applique for your accents. So you could really coordinate it, match it for the seasons, put some, seasonal fabric in there. And I know we all have scraps, so that's a good way to use up those weird strips. So I thought that was kind of a fun thing. I'm excited to see what you guys come up with because I know always I have ideas, we all have ideas, and then you guys take it, up another 10 steps. Also, so here I wanted to show you how I hide the end of the ribbon. If you look in this first picture, you'll see that I just cut the ribbon long enough to overlap itself, and then the handle goes over the top of that. So that's where you're going to put that's how you're going to hide the ends of your ribbon. I didn't want to glue or sew in my ribbon because you want to switch it out. So what I did when I used actual ribbon is I used pinking shears to cut the ends just to reduce fraying as you're taking it in and out. So here's a picture of my finished baskets all together. You can see how different they look with the different colors, with the different ribbon accents, with the different seasonal accents. I think that those are super fun. Let me see if I can show these to you in real life a little better. So here is the blue basket we talked about. I think someone asked if they could see the insides. I'm not sure it's super easy to see that. No, it's not really. But you can see, well, my ribbon's a little crunched up there, but it buttons, can do that in reverse, comes through the bottom and then just buttons out here. So it is a really simple thing. You just bring your handle out, back in, and then the button comes out. I'm trying to do this in reverse, which is a little tricky thing to do. So that is how that works. And the cork, I really like the look of that. Hopefully you guys do too. Cork is such a fun thing to work with. So let's see, anybody have any good comments? Irene, yeah, that's a great point. So Irene, who is a dear friend of mine from Buffalo, she suggested using a rolled hem on a serger on those edges. That's a really great idea also. Paul, yep. I think that it would work. What I'd say is try this stuff, right? Try a wired ribbon, try a rolled hem. The other thing you could do is you could, instead of hiding the ends underneath the handle, why not start weaving over here and then tie a bow? You know, I think that would be super cute also. So there's a million things you can do. That's the best part about this collection. And what we really wanted is that it's a neutral, it's a blank canvas. You can really do whatever you want with it to take it up another 10 notches. So I'm hoping you are enjoying that as much as we enjoyed putting it together. So that's what I have for the freestanding basket. I think we've answered all your questions. What I want to do really quick before we finish is talk to you about next week. There we go. We got our schedule. So next week we are kicking off Stabilizer Week. So super excited about that. Kimberly, who is one of our fabulous educators, is going to be hosting Stabilizer Week with me. We are doing on Monday the Stabilizer Week kickoff. So we're going to talk stabilizer overview, and we're going to touch on washaways a bit. Tuesday, we have a very special guest. Some of you know Alyssa from Penguin and Fish. She is a wonderful artist. She actually makes normally hand-stitched collections. So if you don't know Penguin and Fish, look her up. Alyssa is great. She also does a ton of live videos on Facebook. So you can search for her, Penguin and Fish. She'll be with us. We did a collaboration together to sort of replicate that hand look in embroidery, because I'm not a hand embroiderer. I know some of you guys are, but many of you aren't. If you've purchased that collection, it's a Scissor Tail Stitches collection. Definitely, leave us some love on that one. But she'll be with us to talk about how she draws her collections and, that whole process. I think that'll be super fun. And then Wednesday, the 15th, Stabilizer Week continues. Let's talk about tearaways. I think, there's never enough time to talk about stabilizing. Thursday, I'm tired already. We haven't even started the week. Thursday, we are doing our OESD question and answer session. Some of you have seen, we asked on our Facebook page. If you haven't seen the post, look for the picture that looks like this little blue one. Ask your questions, your OESD questions. Ask about how we get inspired for collections, embroidery collections. Ask your embroidery technical questions. We will have someone from our art department. We will have a digitizing representative. We'll have education there. So I think that's going to be really fun. Leave your questions ahead of time. That would help us out a whole lot. And then Friday is our Stabilizer Week finale. So that will be Cutaway Day with Kimberly. So that's a pretty full week. I hope that you guys are excited about that as I am. I cannot believe we're coming up on I think this is our 4th week of doing this with you guys every day. It's flown by in a lot of ways. Hopefully this is a bright spot in your day. I really enjoyed doing this with you guys. As always, leave us some love. Leave your local store some love. We are just so happy you're here. Thank you for joining me. Have a great weekend. Have a happy Easter, and happy stitching.